Hello, it's Ugly Old Goat. And so, welcome, guys. As you may have checked out, I got in a Twitter storm. I kind of regret I should have never, I should have ignored the guy, and I'm not going to address that now because the guy is a very bad influence in the Bitcoin community, and I'll go into that later. I don't know much about Twitter. I actually deleted or blocked his account. First person I've ever blocked, and then by blocking it, I couldn't find I can't. Then he blocked me, and now I can't get the original tweet. So hey, anybody that has that original tweet where he's said shame on Ugly because I was recommending people short Bitcoin, and which I've never done. And the guy knows he might have been mistaken, but all he had to do was check me out and say, I've never recommended ever anyone shorting Bitcoin. And that was just false information based on taking a statement that I made on one of these sessions out of context. And I tried to correct him, and he just wouldn't budge. And it's really unfortunate. But I'm gonna ignore this for now. Like I say, if somebody is familiar with what was going on there, I unblocked the guy. Now I don't know how to block him again. Like I said, I'm not technologically. That's the first guy I've ever blocked because he just flat out lied about me. And he wouldn't correct it. And, now I understand why Saifedean Amos blocks people and Tone Days blocks people. Because, if people are out there tweeting things that are just blatantly untrue and then they won't give it up, I don't want him on my Twitter account. It just, yeah. Anyway, so Eileen,
hello,
Bitcoin Cruise. I've talked to you and you tell me we have 8 cabins left that are unsold, which is about 16 people. Again, I'm going to let you go into it all. Guys, look, I blocked out this thing when I started this, okay, because what I teach? I teach HODL, all right? And then I teach save. As you HODL and you profit from HODLing, then you reward yourself. And you reward yourself with with perks. It might be a new upgrade to your computer. In my case, I got my wife a new F-150 Ford truck, diesel, and then we also do the builder. And so the other thing, for example, we bought a bus an 18-passenger bus that we're going to be using on this cruise. And as part of the building, part of the builder was when I created the website. I said, you know what? I've done so well in Bitcoin. I'm going to just risk 10 Bitcoin to see what I can do to teach other people, what I have done and that they can do it too. And so that's what I've done. It turned out I didn't have to risk 10 Bitcoin. I had to risk about maybe 3 or 4 at the time. I think Bitcoin, when I started this out, was about $3,000 or $4,000, and I had to invest. Well, maybe I did have to risk. Maybe I did have to invest 10 because, by golly, I didn't initially spend that, but I had to spend about $10,000 to $20,000 to initially launch this thing, and thanks to you guys, and particularly you charter members who got in on this at half a price. It was a half of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin was only like $4,000 at the time. You got a real bargain, and I did too because I HODL, and I got to pay for the cruise. We sold Bitcoin. I traded and made a lot of money in Bitcoin. We sold I've sold Bitcoin to pay for this cruise. And I've HODLed some too. I mean, that's what we do here. But so there's a threefold thing. It's an entire money management way of thinking. And so there is HODLing, which, hey, you know what? If you don't have a HODL, that's what you got to do first. You can't be trading until you first have some HODL. And, if you want to trade with Jesus here or with $100, that means you really need to have $2,000 in Bitcoin to start trading with him, because you're only going to risk 5% of that. And you kind of say, well, I'll probably blow it, but it's the way I'm going to learn. And then the second thing you do. Oh, good. Okay. Please, Bitcoin Motorist, if you could just I don't know how you can send those to me. I'll tell you what, if you can, just if you can screenshot it and send it to Ugly Old Goat at uglyoldgoat.com. That'd probably be the easiest way. That would be that way I can get it. Hey, I appreciate that because I want the original thing of what was said, and it was just blatantly untrue. And I said, hey, man, you need to correct this thing. You don't get it. And, you know, he bowed his neck and wanted, you know, my problem is I should just, you know, the guy's not worth it. He's a worthless piece of crap. He wants to go man to man with me and talk about it. He's welcome on the show. You know, I'll go one-on-one. We'll go step by step. And but I'm going to address this. We got to address this cruise first, and I will go step by step and criticize exactly what he's doing and why he is a danger to the Bitcoin community. And that kind of thinking is all right. I have no problem with that. So we'll pass this on. I'm not afraid of controversy, guys. I was stand up 11 years in prison. I went nose to nose with Rooster and Bubba and several others and all the shot callers of all the gang members. All right, and never had a problem because I went man to man with them. So if you can't go man to man with me, then go ahead and identify yourself as a woman and say you're a Bitcoin Tina. All right, so Eileen, I'm done with that one.
I give you Eileen.
All right, so great. Okay. Here we go. What we got to get this. Look, I'm going on vacation on Friday with my family, and that's another part of money management. It's not just hodling Bitcoin. It's not just trading Bitcoin. It's taking care of your family, and which is hard because we get so caught up in Bitcoin. So, I will be gone for 2 to 3 weeks, and I will be taking my laptop. I got Bitcoin Jesus here is going to have to train me so I can do it off my laptop because he takes care of it, and I won't be in a studio. And I'll only do it occasionally when I have Wi-Fi because I'll be in places where I don't have Wi-Fi. But I will, keep you informed on my thoughts of the market and those kind of things. I'm not abandoning you, but I'm on vacation and my family is going to come first. And I was hoping to get this thing out of the way because when I come back from vacation, my focus is going to be on the content of this conference. I just want it to be one of the top conferences ever. If it's not sold out, I don't care. I'll get whoever I can to come on this conference. If you guys, it's going to be a great bargain. G.Lady is going to be, providing some great entertainment. But I need to get this thing done, and so that's why we're tweeting this out. And I'm going to hand it to you, Eileen, and please explain what we need to do. You guys that are registered and haven't paid, please do. And I guess there's another thing, too. If you want to register, this boat's going to be filled up because of the race. So it will be completely full. If you want to go ahead and get the cruise and buy the conference ticket later, that's fine with us. You can do that. But the conference is limited. I got this 60 people. That's it, including speakers. So if you don't go through us, you go separately. Just check to make sure the conference ticket is available, and then I'll let Eileen. It's yours because I really don't. You're the liaison between Ugly Old Goat and Carnival Cruise. Have at it.
Okay, so we have 8 cabins that are left here. Few people who register for the conference haven't paid. I'm trying to get their information. Can't book on the cruise. The idea is today was Carnival's deadline. They want the name on the cabin, the date of birth, and the citizenship on it. So those few of you who have registered, haven't paid or given me that information, you need to get it to me. They put a deadline on it. It's 9 o'clock Eastern time tonight. I can't help much after that.
Yeah, let me interrupt for a minute, Eileen, because I forgot all about this, but the G.Lady told me, I guess Victor Villaconia called her last night. His English is not real good, so he just spoke with her directly, and he's made a special offer. I've talked to you guys about this, but we are actually working on a revolutionary new way of looking at the market. And as you know, I teach you guys, forget about the charts. The TA is the last thing you look at. The most important thing is your equity. And so we are actually building a sequential system that measures your equity on BITMEX. And he wants to have 10, about 8 to 10. He's going to limit to 8 to 10 people that want the beta program, so they can start testing it now and say, hey, this doesn't work, or this needs to be improved, or this or that. We only are going to offer it to people that sign up for this cruise. All right. If you've already signed up for it and you paid for it and you're going on the cruise and you want to be a part of that, just send me an email at ugly@uglyoldgoat.com, and I'll make sure that you're on one of those beta testers. If you sign up, okay, on this cruise today, I will get you in on that. And again, he's like, it's free. Once we iron out all the bugs, of course we're going to charge for it. And it's not going to be expensive, but it's not going to be cheap. But if you get on this beta program, you're going to help us develop it, and it'll be free to you. Once it gets fully developed, it's yours. So that's a really big. I mean, I told you, I always give more than I promise. And if you sign up for this cruise and you want to be on that beta program, it's there for you.
Sounds like a good offer. Okay, so those of you who haven't registered for this conference yet and you're interested in going, it's September 19th to 22nd. It's leaving on Thursday at 6:30. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, back in Long Beach, California, Monday morning, 7 o'clock. So those of you who are in that area, you're ready, you can go to work after it. You want to do it, go into the Ugly Old Goat website, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see Bitcoin Cruise. You go in there, click register for the conference. Once you do that, you'll get an email, and the email will say, click on here to pay for the conference. Do that. You'll get a call or an email from me right away asking you for the information you need. It'll probably be an email that'll come out from events at uglyoldgoat.com. But you got to go and click on conference, click on the pay button there, and then you'll hear from me. And what I'm going to be asking you for is your date of birth, your legal name is on your passport, or your legally issued government ID, and then what country you're a citizen and what country you're a resident of. Do you want ocean view or an interior room? Easy as that. Ugly has already paid for the cruises, so you'll be billed for that down a couple of weeks, probably a week, 2 weeks after he gets back from vacation. The rates on it go from, let me see, $437. That includes everything per person. That's based on double occupancy in a room. Let us know if you want one all to yourself. Most people want the double occupancy, so it's $437 to $494. The interiors are $437. The ocean view are $489 and $494 per person. Includes all the port taxes. There's a gratuity that they bill you for. You can pay up front $41.97. That's all included in that $437 or $494 for it. Let me see what else you need to know. Yeah. You need to
mention about you had somebody that signed in independently who was a senior. Can you explain how that works if somebody wants to do it that way?
Yes. Yeah, we had a person who signed in, and he saw these rates, and he thought, I don't know if I want to pay that. So he called Carnival himself, and what he did is he got a rate that was $33 per person less in the cabin. So instead of $437,
but you have to be 55 or older to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
He got $403. You have to be a senior, which they consider 55 or older. But the catch to it is you are not assigned a cabin. Right now, I got a cabin signed in April. We got cabins. So we got pretty good cabins on, reasonable decks. We have the main deck and the upper deck on it. If you take the senior fare, you cannot get a cabin assigned. You at embarkation date, when you go to on the ship, they'll say, okay, here's your cabin. You'll either get an interior if you paid for an interior, but it can be on any level in the ship. It could be good. You're spinning a wheel there. Who knows? Maybe the ones on the best level aren't booked. Maybe you're going to end up on the lower level of it. You'll be at the cruise and out enjoying yourself anyway, but that's the caveat there. If you take that senior discount fare, you're not going to get your cabin assigned until the last minute. they're going to look at what their inventory is left on cabins. If you ask for an ocean view, you're going to get an ocean view. It can be anywhere on the ship, where with ours, we got specific areas. We got areas close to the elevators and, easy to get in and out on it. We got one right on the middle back of the ship. The first person who booked wanted that. So he could be right in the middle ocean view on the back of the ship. So hopefully it's going from Long Beach in California down to Ensenada. When you're in Ensenada, you have the race that day, and a lot of the G.Lady has a lot of entertainment planned. So if you're interested, go into the Ugly Old Goat website right now, click on the conference, do the payment, and get the information to me right away. As soon as I see that out there, I'll be contacting you. Put a phone number in or your email. It asks you for both. However you want to be contacted, I'll contact you. You can give me the information on the phone or by text, and I can get it into Carnival right away. They're being a tiny bit.
Yeah. Also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Also, I just want to remind the people that if they don't have to sign up, they can sign up under any of the speakers. If you have a favorite speaker and you like to support his work, then sign up under them, because you will get a 15% discount.
The link is on the description below.
It's on the subscription. Okay, it's in the subscription below. You can link on to your favorite speaker, and that speaker you will get a 15% discount, and he'll also get a small referral because he's bringing you to our conference. So this is why we created it this way. And again, it is 0.05, so you take 15% off of that, and I think it makes it 0.0425. And when I priced it, Bitcoin was about 4,000 or 5,000. It's doubled in price. So yeah, unfortunately, the cost of the cruise has more than doubled in terms of fiat. It never has changed as far as Bitcoin. However, the cruise at that time, I also was hoping, I said, well, if we do this and we get it sold out early, and Carnival doesn't sell, people don't know about this inaugural Baja race, and they have empty seats, we can increase the size. Well, there's no way we're going to increase the size of this. It's 60 people with speakers. That's it. Okay. This is going to be a very intimate conference with a lot of high quality content. And so that's if you sign up for it, if you're going to go, it'll be 0.0425 when you sign up. If you're a member, you automatically get that 15% discount. You don't have to sign up under anybody's affiliate. So that's it. So I'm done. With the people that have registered and have not paid, we're really screaming on it for you guys. You know what? You need to pay for this thing, because you're not going to have a spot if you don't pay for it, and it's not going to work that way. So if you're planning on going to the cruise and you've registered, you got to make that next step. You got to pay for the conference, and then Eileen will immediately get a hold of you, so we can at least get your name and your name and date of birth and your citizenship. That's what Homeland Security now requires. I mean, I didn't realize the kind of the mess it is because of Homeland Security, but it is, and I can tell you from experience that it's very real, because when I took my son to the World Cup last year in Russia, I had some of the details of his identity wrong, and in every case they canceled my airfare, and I had to buy a new ticket, for 2 or 3 times the price. And so there are going to be no more tickets in this particular case, because this is during a race. Normally these cruises are not filled up, but because this is an inaugural Baja race, this one will be 100% full. And so a lot of people, in California and the West Coast are getting on this cruise simply so they can come down and see, another incredible race down here in the Baja. It's something that they simply cannot have in the United States anymore, because of all the environmental issues. About the only place you can drive these big vehicles anymore is on Indian reservations, and they're even trying to shut that down. So, okay, Eileen, I'll put it back to you.
Yeah, well, two last comments on it. One is, if you can, in your contacts, everyone that's listening, put in ugly@uglyoldgoat.com. Some of the emails have gone to spam. You know, it's Ugly Old Goat, the name on it. It might be suspicious to some, you know, anyway,
Check
put
your
that in
spam.
there
Check your
so that it
spam
won't
now.
go to spam. And, you know, some people aren't getting the emails. I know everybody is so busy and don't have time. I reached a couple of people on phone and, oh my gosh, I forgot about this. Let me just do it right now. A lot of times the email doesn't go through because it goes to spam. So look at your contact list. Make sure you got something from Ugly Old Goat in the contact list so that when you get an email from here, it's not going to go to spam, and check your spam. The other thing is, you know, I'm really excited about this. I'm going on the cruise and I'm so excited. Ugly has such a great, what I really like is that the speakers are great. There's an international mix in there that's really nice. And even some of those who have registered, there's an international flavor to it. And the idea that this is a small group. When Ugly started this, we looked for cruise ships. It was actually thought we'd go bigger with it, but there weren't any around this time of year. It was late. People booked cruises a year and a half in advance. I'm amazed. You know, I'm a last minute kind of person, but people book this way out. So the next one is going to be a bigger cruise for sure, and it'll be out. This is a great one to take advantage of that one-on-one that you're going to have on the ship here and for these days that you're on there. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
If I
very
do this,
excited about
yeah,
it because you can speak. We're going to
yeah.
be able to speak to people who have this broad knowledge on Bitcoin and what to do in the legal sphere and the accounting sphere and the privacy sphere, everything. It's just a great opportunity. So anyway, that's it for me. That's my sign off here. All of you have a good rest of the week. And I'm
All
going to
right.
sign
So
off.
yeah, sign up under one of the speakers. I know I saw Garbriel D Vine put out a tweet this morning. So if you're a fan of Gabriel, sign up under him. Kestutis is there. Max was on the other day. We got Thomas Hunt. You know, we've got who else? I can't even remember all the speakers, but we have, you know, it's going to be, we got Juan Galt, who's just a really strong up and comer who's going to teach you a lot about privacy and security and you know how to pass on your Bitcoin. These are important issues. So it's not going to be. We're going to. I'll be there, and I will be teaching what I teach, and be available to all you guys. And just really looking forward to it. So. Eileen, is that all? I mean, I can continue now with the show. Okay. Well, hey, I really appreciate that you've been fan, and she's going to be on the cruise, so she's going to be. She didn't know we thought her son was going to, but now she's going to be. She's going to be the liaison, and everybody will know her. So you know she'll be the go-to lady when you get on the cruise. This is Eileen, and say if you have any questions or if you have any problems, she's the one that will be handling that. So thank you very much, Eileen.
All right.
You know, we'll see how this goes. You know what? We'll see how it goes. The number one thing now is we get this thing out of the way, then I'm going to focus on the content, and then I need to also focus on. We need to both record it and do a live feed because we don't know how the internet is going to be on board ship. It may not be that consistent. I think it's pretty good because they really always stay pretty close to land, but we're not going to depend on that. So very likely I will just spend the money and get a professional recording team to come on the cruise too, so we can take care of that. Yeah, and also my 13-year-old son, I'm putting him in charge of it, but I really think it'd be better if we get a professional crew in, and then he can mentor under them as kind of an apprentice. So it's like I say, Bitcoin is a new economy. It's very important that you teach your children about it and to get them involved. And so that's what we're doing here. You can't twist their arm if they're not interested, but I have one that's very interested, and people really love him. He just, I don't know. He has a way with people that he knows how he's a charmer. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, Eileen. Okay. Now let's go back and see what you guys are up to. All right. Okay. The one that I blocked was uh, I've never blocked anybody before because I really don't believe in it. But this guy's going to keep on spreading this crap. I have no choice. I understand now, why Tone blocks people, and so does Safe and Ian. And roll it back up because let me address that. And the guy's name is Bitcoin Tina. So I assumed it was a woman. Apparently, it's an acronym where there is no alternative. Which he's a Bitcoin maximalist. We should be in the same camp. But for some reason he just got a hard on for me. He saw the little interview.
That's a good one.
He saw the interview I did with Max. I said, well, we were short here. He says, well. And the tweet that he sent out said, "Shame on you, ugly, for telling people to go short Bitcoin." I have never, ever told anyone to short Bitcoin. If you've read any of my work, you know that. Now, if you're a hodler, you're going to sell Bitcoin. You have to sell it sometime. Okay? If you're a hodler, you can use the futures market to hedge a portion of your Bitcoin. Go look at my Medium, Mr. Bitcoin Tina. Last October, I took 2 Bitcoin, a very small part of my hodl, and I hedged myself and went short. And from October to December, I turned 2 Bitcoin into over 20 Bitcoin. I documented on Medium. Can you do that? And it's not a one-time thing. I've decided to share the information, the wealth of knowledge that I do have. And I don't have a lot of knowledge, but what I know, I know. What I don't know, I don't pretend to know. But don't be lying about me. Don't be telling people, shame on ugly, you had everybody go short. I never had anybody go short, ever. And I'm angry about it, and you need to retract that. You want to talk. Okay, and then that's not all. You all have my other trading history. You know that, again, I took 2 Bitcoin in February, and it's been running to over 34 Bitcoin. Okay, that's trading. Do I hodl it all? No. I teach the whole thing of money management. So once I only trade because I already have my hodl. If you don't have a hodl, you have no business trading. But if you have a hodl, even a small one, even $2,000, you can trade 5% of that and learn how it's done. Essentially, I took $70 worth of Bitcoin last February 4th. And ran it into over $5,000. Okay? Bitcoin Tina, did you do that? Do you publish your trade? You say you're a trader. You even say, oh, you only advise when I buy extreme lows and sell extreme highs. Well, you know what? What is that? What is an extreme low and extreme high in Bitcoin? You got a lock on where the market's going? You know what? Ugly old goat, he doesn't have a clue. I got no clue where the market's going. And that's what I teach people. I don't know. And it's because I don't know that I know how to trade, not because I do know. And that's what I can teach you. But you have to have ears to hear. You have to have eyes to see. So I'm angry, and I'm not angry because, we should be one in a complete agreement. Everything that you said was true, and I agree with. The only thing that was untrue is you said, shame on you, ugly, for telling people to sell Bitcoin. I never said that, except you took it out of context because, yes, I sell Bitcoin, a small part of huddles, as a hedge. And you're silly if you don't. Now, some people, if you can't trade at all, that's why you go in with $100. If you find out you can't trade, then but you still have to trade somewhere along the line. And I know cases, I know hodlers that hodled. And they hodled and they were wonderful. And it went to $20,000 and they were euphoric. And at that time, they didn't need the money. But then they watched it go all the way down to 3,000, 4,000, and something came up, an emergency, family, something, and they had to sell. Look, I've taken my huddle. I don't have as much Bitcoin as I used to, but I have 3 houses, 4 or 5 new automobiles. We built a factory, bunch of factory equipment. Oh, and another thing, Bitcoin, Tina. Yeah, if you're profitable, you pay taxes. I'm not trying to weasel out of my taxes. Now, I believe in paying the least amount that is legally owed. But how can you ever profit if all you do is hodl? You have to at least trade it, barter it for something else. There's no excuse for what you did. There's no excuse for you to tweet out that I recommend going short Bitcoin. Now, you might have initially taken it out of context and not realized everything. You've not read my material, but I pointed out to you that it's not true, and you're still holding on and saying, well, I quoted you exactly what you said. Yeah, completely out of context. You say you're a trader. You said that you were. Well, you know what? If you're a trader, then you know exactly what I'm talking about when you can be short the futures and still have a long Bitcoin position. And if you never hedge more than 50%, it doesn't matter. If the market goes up, you're still ahead fiat. If it goes down, you're ahead in Bitcoin. I'm teaching people, look, this is a whole new economy. And if it is, it's not going to be just about hodling. And I keep writing about this too. We're going to go to a whole new level. And that level is going to also include merchant banking. And that's why I lead all of you guys to read E.C. Harwood, because he wrote about the lost art of sound commercial banking and how it grew up and became the furthest advance in money that we've ever had. I've had plenty of links. Maybe you can put it on this program, but you can Google it. The Lost Art of Commercial Banking. You need to read it. It's a short article, about 10 or 15 pages, just fascinating history. My mentor, my number one mentor. And, you know, this is the direction that we're going. And you can't get in, and the only thing that I regret is I shouldn't have gotten dragged in this stupid Twitter thing. I should have just ignored the guy and let it go away. But no, this guy doesn't seem to, I mean, he gets Bitcoin. But you know, why are you attacking somebody like me? Should be on the same team, fella. Just don't be tweeting out that I recommend shorting Bitcoin. I never did. Never. And you're a liar if you continue it. You know very well that you quoted me completely out of context. Yes, we'll get on again. I just sent out my newsletter. You'll see that I sold it a couple more times. Guess what? The market's going down. I'm still picking up Bitcoin. Are you? Huh? All right, I'm done with that. All right. Where was I in jail? Well, about anywhere you want to know, okay? I'm very familiar with the federal system, so I can start out there. But I was in. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. But no,
I went to Hawaii.
Yeah, did you go to Hawaii? Really?
I did.
Wow.
The plane was lame though. It was all shaky.
Well, no, I think I started. Well, look, I started out in the state of Kansas. I went the whole gambit, and then I found out. I'm going to just answer your question. Someday I'll go into the other details, but I'll answer it on the federal level. I started out at El Reno in Oklahoma, but I did briefly get into Leavenworth and let's see, where else did I go? I did another one. I tell you what, you want to be in a medium because that's the best. Either max or super, max or medium. You don't want to be in the camp and you don't want to be in a low because those guys all want to play prison. I'm going to tell you something. The most safe place, not the most safe place, but the most polite place I have ever been.
Medium is good.
Yeah, medium is very good and it's very polite. If you bump into somebody, it's always, excuse me.
Or pardon me.
Pardon me.
My bad.
My bad. My bad. I didn't mean anything about it. And you know what? There's no threats in prison. None of this crap that goes on in the world. You know what? If you threaten somebody, chances are you're not going to wake up in the morning.
You got to sleep with one eye open.
So it's just a little bit different world, but people can't understand it, how polite prison really is. It's amazing the set of manners. These guys that have no manners in the outside world, they have manners on the inside world.
Oh, yeah. You gotta follow.
All right, hello. Oh, one question. You say basis because backward is interesting to have a feel of. Yeah, you know what? The way I've taught the basis is, and the way I've used it, but I think the paradigm is probably changing. And that's another thing I'll teach you guys. Market paradigms change. The character of markets change. Now, the one thing that I knew because of my experience is when Bitcoin would go into these extreme backwardizations, and people would, because it was all amateurs back there in 2016, when the big backwardization back there before the market went up, it was like the market was only like $1,000. It was $300 or $400, and the market wasn't even very high. And people were thinking, well, that means the market's going to go down. See, in the future, no, it doesn't. It's exactly the opposite, because what it means is the commercial interest in a speculator. I'm not going to buy the spot if I can buy a futures $400 lower. I'm going to buy the futures. So it's a fundamental thing that switches around. Now, the one thing and people are starting to realize that, and so I do think that backwardization will probably one day disappear entirely. And there might be a new paradigm coming. It's just it really hasn't developed yet, but it's something you guys should keep an eye on, and that is when the basis, and if you notice, when the market bottomed down there, and I forgot where the bottom was, it went under $9,000. Took out the 2-week low. That's where it was. You were briefly into a backwardization, so people are already catching on to this. So the paradigm is changing. I just don't think you're going to have that situation that we had last January again, where the market was $200 under spot and the futures and just sat there. Okay, because now people are because partly what I'm teaching, and it just makes sense. But more and more people are catching on to it, and we're getting a more sophisticated and a more mature market. And that's what's going to happen. It's going to be more like, gold and silver always had a contango on it. And basically it was for the carrying charges and interest. And the silver, because the carrying charge is much more bulky, this carrying charge on silver was generally quite a bit higher than in gold. Okay. For leverage trading, do you normally set type stop losses? Also, do you recommend 1/2 leverage and trade for swing trade? Okay, I rarely use stops. For example, if I'm going to be on a show, I'm not going to be at the market, I'll put some stops in. And but I don't have any magic points I put them on. It's always the equity. To me, the most important thing when I get out is because I don't like this. I don't either want to give up equity, or I see a spike in my equity where I want to trim, or I mean you saw it, I was short Ethereum just before it broke, and I got out simply because I saw a little spike in my equity. I didn't want to give any back, and I, and it was the worst possible move I could do. And I did this. I missed the same move twice. I wrote about it, guys. I missed the move twice. So you don't need to follow me. You can learn this thing and be good traders in your own right, but you start extremely small. And you've seen how I start. In relative speaking, I start very small. There's nothing wrong with taking 2 Bitcoin and running it into 35 Bitcoin in less than 6 months. Come on, guys. And you all can see it. Apparently, again, I was talking with Kestutis, and he has someone that is going to actually quantify all the trading that I sent you, so you can see what I did and where, because they want to figure it out. I don't know if that's going to really help or not, but it might make it easier to see. To me, it's really not that important. Okay, technicals are not that important, and I know that's a very difficult subject for people to grasp and put their head around. All right. So again, I rarely use stops. But I have no problem taking myself out of the market. And the other thing too, and I think I wrote about that in the newsletter, a recent newsletter, because of what I'm doing now, and because what I'm doing is under such intense scrutiny, I'm really not trading like I have my whole hodl. For example, I could, if I thought the market was going down, I would take a larger position just to get myself hedged. But I'm not, because I want to show you, because you know what? I'm taken care of. I've made my bones. I'm doing this to teach you guys, and I'm having fun. I really am. And I'm open to teach all, even these guys, they want to give me a hard time. Well, you know what? Come on the show, go with me head to head, and let's talk. But don't be telling fibs about me and how I tell people to go short, because I don't, never have. All right. Yes. I didn't realize we broke the 2 days lows. I do want to outline where that I did go short because of the 2-day high, and I do look at that. I think it's very important. I think that I kind of look at the 2 days and the 30-minute and the 2-week. If you notice, the 2-week low was a reversal. Now it could have just as well kept on going down. So it's ballsy to buy it down there. But if I was around, I probably would have, because I just haven't been trading that much. But there was a lot of indicators there. One thing is that it went into the backwardization. Now, the difference is, in the past, when we hit the backward, it can stay there a long time. It was a lousy timing mechanism. I think maybe the paradigm shift is that the basis might be turning into a timing mechanism. And for people that understand that, I think it is something that you need to add to your arsenal, because I'm more and more people are beginning to understand what the futures is all about, and why it is a fundamentally bullish situation when we go into backwardization. It's also a very fundamentally bearish situation when we have that big contango. And that's why, what? Look, you saw what I did. You saw that I took a portion. You saw that I took, in May, I took out 6 of the Bitcoin, okay? And I explained exactly what we did with it. We took out 2 of 6, we hodled 2, and the other 4, we bought that bus with. And I did it before, and we bought an F-150. So that's saving. In other words, I still have Bitcoin, but I have assets now that I didn't have 3 years ago. Okay, I just do. I have a factory now. It's not in production, but it's there, and we're working to get it there. That's what we're building. The shirts that we sent you, the hats that you've been sent as members, we made those here. That's what's cool. People are going to get on Bitcoin. They don't even know they're on Bitcoin, because we're employing people. We are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. And not me, I'm too old, but you guys are. You guys are. you know, and you gotta be up there, and we're going to be persecuted too. So we got to want, the stuff that went on was ridiculous. Because you know what, as hodlers, we don't need to have these kind of fights. We need to be watching each other's backs, because that's what's really coming down to. And that's where you're really wrong, Bitcoin Tina. You know what? You're really wrong. One of the people that I hold in most high regard in the Bitcoin community is Tone Vays. He's taught me so much about fundamentals. And the same with Tyler Jenks. And you guys just, I don't know what it is with you, but you just don't get it. And you know what? Both of these guys, I emphasize money management. The reason I have respect for them, they don't emphasize money management because it's already a part of what they already do. And if you're not successful in trading, I guarantee you the problem is you're not managing that account. If you follow what I do, you can't get wrecked. You can't. All right. Yeah, I know. And thank you, Adam. No, I realize that. But my point is, I'm not here. All I want is, the guy, he's not even a bad guy, but he won't get off this thing. It's like, okay, you know what? You got to win the argument. Fine, whatever. I tell people go short Bitcoin. That's a lie. But, if that's what you got to do to get credibility for yourself, then have at it, Buster. I told you quoted it out of context. I showed you quoted it out of context, and you still hung on to it. Well, I quoted you exactly right. No, you didn't. You took it out of context, and then you said, shame on ugly for telling people to go short. Am I currently short? No, I'm not. I did sell a little bit, but I'm never short, okay? I did sell like 20,000, which is less than 2 Bitcoin, which is this is fraction of my holdings, guys. But yeah, I did sell a little bit. Let's go look and see. I just sent you the latest CSV file, and also the picture of my account, which I have no position on, but I did sell a little bit. I should have held, look, the way I define the market, when we took out the 2-week low, we're in a downtrend. The first time we went up, I said the first time, if we go above this week's highs or last week's highs, this week, I'd be a seller. Now, Tony and I are completely different. He says it goes back up there. That's the breakout, but it never went up there. So he's still, you know what? I've told you when we were up there between 11 and 15,000 that there's a 50% chance now we're going all the way down to 3,000. I didn't tell you that in January. I said it's very unlikely we're going to break 3,000. Okay, but look, when you see that distribution, when you see all this churning, and when you see this big contango, I'm telling you, the wise, smart people, the wise miners, they sold a part of their future production, so they don't care the rest of the year where the market goes. It can go to 100,000, they'll make out like a gangbuster. But you know what? If it goes down to 3,000, they're still going to have a profitable year. Are you? That's the question you need to be asking yourself. All right. How do you avoid big losses without stops? Look at your equity. Look at the equity box. That's how you do it. Okay. I notice you use rather large positions compared to balance. I feel like take a big losses even when a relatively small position. Okay, I'm not sure what you're asking there, but yeah, and again, I don't know where this market is going, but I view it, if you notice, I view it now differently because we did take out that 2-week low, which was a time you could have taken a stab at buying. I didn't, I missed it. But then I also said, look, and I said, if we go, but good chance we never will go above last week's high. So that's when I tweeted out to you guys, look, When you take out that 2-day high, you can sell that, okay? And it should stop and reverse. That's what usually, I mean, look, markets, 80% of the time, they are choppy and they're going up and down. They're not trending. They're not trending markets. So most of the time, that market's going to reverse there and come back down. Now, the problem is when you're wrong. And for example, on April 1st of this year, we broke through and kept going up. But to me, it was very, very obvious that that was happening because it was what? The end of a quarter, the end of the month, end of a year, and we blew through that thing. And that's why, I have no idea. All I'm saying is that it's much more likely now that we can go back to 3,000 now than when we at 10,000 than when we were at 4,000. And I know people really have a hard time putting that around, grasping onto that. How can you say that? Well, it's because the market dynamics have changed. They just have. And you've got a lot of speculative interest here. It would be very surprising, and they could just keep on. But the speculative interest, most likely, they're going to have to pay a price. People that hodling is not easy. Hodling is hard because you have to hodl. Again, the fundamentals are Bitcoin Standard, and Bitcoin alone. Okay? Hey, Bitcoin Tina, you're correct. What is that? There is no alternative. Agreed. Now, what do we find about, man? Why are you telling stories about me that aren't true? There is no alternative. The only issue with you, Bitcoin Tina, is you're lying about me on Twitter. That's the issue. Now, I blocked you, and then I wanted to copy what you said, your original tweet, so I could show people what we're talking about. And then I unblocked you to try and get it, but now you blocked me. So apparently you don't want to go there again. But somebody will send me that tweet. I can't figure out how to block it again. I mean, that's fine. My house is open. You want to talk Bitcoin? You want to talk about hodling? You want to talk about trading? You say you're a trader. Okay. You said only do the extremes. Well, you know what? I don't know the extremes. I don't know. That's why I never laughed at Tyler Jenks 1000. I understood exactly what he was saying from him. He never told anybody to short Bitcoin. He thought it was going lower. I think it was a mistake to say 99.9. Some people might have grabbed a hold of that and prevented them from buying, but he eventually did get long at 6,000. And if you follow Tyler, he's a hell of a trader, man. I mean, he bought Bitcoin when it broke out, rode it all the way up, got out, and now he bought back into 6,000. He's only made 2 trades. You guys, you want to hold him. I mean, you guys need to learn. You really do. And like I say, all of you that are thinking that way, you've got your priorities wrong. You've got technical in front of the money management and fundamentals. And the number one thing to be successful in Bitcoin is the money management and the fundamentals. And that's why I just preach over and over and over again that if we are correct fundamentally, then dollar cost average is the way to go. And you will replicate the results of the very best traders. But you have to be disciplined to do it, because the reason you will do that is because by definition, if you're dollar cost averaging, you're going to buy more at the lower prices than at the higher prices. By the same token, if it keeps going up, you're still protecting yourself. And then once you have that hodl, then you could go into these other strategies. And it's, this is all new. We haven't had sound money for 100 years. So we're learning things all over again. And I've studied that history, guys. You need to listen, you know, and people have mentored me and taught me about Bitcoin. I certainly, when I went into it, I understood the economics, and I still understand the back end. Hey, I stay away from that completely. All right, what else do we got here? Yes, Argatha, people don't get it. They really don't. And but that's what I'm here. I know that you guys are. I know. Hey, the testimonials I'm getting from you guys. I mean, I really appreciate it, and it really helps me because I know I'm reaching some of you, and I know that some of you that really bowed your neck and you said, this isn't for me. I thought you were gonna, give me buy and sell points and all of this, but you're listening, it's starting to take, and you're starting to get what I'm talking about. Okay. And you can do this, guys. You can do this. Help Bitcoin Jesus out here, because he doesn't even know the mechanics of a BITMEX yet, and I haven't had time, so you guys can kind of help him. But I'm going to have I think the G.Lady and my son's probably going to start getting in there with $100, and practice. Hey, you know what? That's the way you do it. And you're not ready to go into the ring. You don't want to go in and play against somebody like me or somebody else that knows what they're doing, because you're not going to win. We'll eat your lunch. I eat records, but I do look at things differently than most. And I do think that one of the things that will become evident in the next few years is some of these very, very large traders, particularly those who have guided some people. And I think Roger Ver is going to be a big candidate, that he's simply not going to be one of the big boys anymore. If he truly believes in Bcash and he's put, his assets primarily in Bcash, his wealth is severely diminished and will continue to do so. And this is true with those that in Ethereum. This is true on all of these altcoins. So this is this what I'm teaching you is sound money management, sound fundamentals, and then the last thing, and the fun thing is all the little technical stuff, but that's really not the foundation. All right, so let's go see. When do you eject out of your trade? There's two ways that I eject. The one is on spikes, and I also will enter. If you notice, if you go back and check my trading history, you will see that when I sold, I actually caught one of those spikes up, and it came all the way back down 200 or 300, but then went back up. And it was a little nerve-wracking because why isn't this thing breaking? It should have just barely touched that 2-week high and then broke, but it didn't. It played up there. And then if you notice, just before it broke, there was all this activity. Well, that's distribution. Okay. That's the weak short sellers, getting wrecked out of their position, and the smart guys just adding to it. And then that thing, boom, down she went. And that's just typical of a market and how that thing works. So I don't know what other questions. Scroll up and let's see what we got. So, and the other time that I eject, again, I teach trimming. Go back and read my articles. You trim. It's very important to trim because what happens if you trim, and particularly if you're riding a position, you are in a position if you're not getting hurt if the market's going against you. In other words, you've locked in your equity. So the one thing that I'm looking for is that equity box. And I want to see it rising, slowly rising. And the problem is if you just have net, you don't trim, when it reverses, boom, it goes down like this. Well, you want that equity maybe to go like this, but you don't want it to go like that. And so that's what I'm looking at. And so if it starts to go like that or beyond certain points, I'll exit there's not magic way, but there is a magic point. For example, I didn't want to give up the 4 Bitcoin. So that's in there. I just, I never want to add anything to that thing. I just, and I'm not trading actively now because I got so much going on. We're getting ready for this vacation, but I'm really looking forward to working with the new equity indicator that we're working on. What is the maximum amount of losing trades in a row did you have? I don't know. You guys, somebody's going to probably figure that out. I don't know. You're going to have losing trades, and they're going to run in bunches. The key is how do you manage the losing trade? In other words, if you're losing in your trading, what have you been doing? Well, what I teach you to do is if you lose, you reduce your position. Okay. And if you notice, if you're following me back there last year, okay, I actually started getting long in December and January. I had a fairly large position on. I don't recall what. I'd have to look at, and they closed down that account because they figured they've discovered I was a U.S. citizen. And so I did, have an equity drop after running up to, about 25 Bitcoin. I had an equity drop of 4.5 or 5 Bitcoin but it was different than I was willing to put on. Right now, this is not a market you put a big position on. This is a trader's market. You trade it. You get in and out, and that's it. But back then, everything was, this thing's not going down. I want to get a position. And I had a large position, and I got stopped out. In fact, I got stopped out on the way back from the unconfiscatable conference. And then I stepped back in at higher levels. But the thing is, I stepped in with a substantially smaller position. In fact, since my account got closed out due to being a U.S. citizen, my wife opened a new account, and we only put 2 Bitcoin in there. And that was February 4th. And so you guys have the members, if you're a subscriber. Incidentally, this broadcast was invited. I did invite the public, and so feel free to pass this on to a Bitcoin Tina, and he has an open invitation if he wants to spar with me one-on-one, if he wants to retract the false statement he made about me. But where was I? Okay. I lost my train of thought. That's the problem with getting old, fellas. Sometimes you're just going on a roll, and you stop getting on that roll. But hey, I was going to go into, you needed. I substantially reduced my position. In other words, I had a much larger position in January trying to catch that bull move than I did in February. Now, I still had a substantial position in February, but I only had 2 Bitcoin on there, and it was a different kind of a trading. Okay, if you remember at the Unconfiscatable conference, everybody was saying, oh, well, Bitcoin's going to go down below 3,000, go to 27, all this, and say it's not interesting, just not interesting because there's no volatility. Well, you know what? Those are the markets that I get all excited about, when they're quiet and there's no volatility and there's a little narrow range like this. Because you know what? It doesn't matter. It was here, 3,400, and had a little triangle like this. It didn't matter if you went long or short, because if you went, your risk was so small. So if you went short and it goes up here, you get out. If you're long, it goes here, you get out. And I'd had a big position on, and it did make a false breakout. I got out, but then it recovered, and I put another one on, and we tried it again. It took me twice. Sometimes I go 3 or 4 times before I get on board. You can lose several times. Okay, but you lose a little bit. But the second time I got on board, but my position was smaller. So if you have been losing, you don't increase your position, you cut it back. And that's a very hard thing to do. And I know it's really hard because the guys, you've told me how hard it is. I know that there's subscribers that are probably listening right now that have lost a lot of money this year, a lot. And some of you, it could be, I don't know if it could be millions. I know there's hundreds of thousands. I know, 5 figures, quite a few, 6 figures out there. And the hardest thing for you guys to do is you want to get it all back. And you know what? You got to just throw that garbage away, because that's not that stinking thinking. You can't. That's history. You can only start and do things right starting today. It's kind of like a recovering alcoholic or drug addict, and that's what it is. I mean, a lot of people are really addicted to the excitement of trading. And I know that because I've been there and done that. I mean, I've had large proportions of open interest in futures exchanges, which is another thing I want to outline to you guys. One of my heroes is Arthur Hayes and what he's done with BITMEX in the unregulated market. And the one thing that he has provided that you can't do it. If you trade on the Chicago Merc and you get caught the wrong way of that thing and you get stopped out for a big loss, you're going to have a margin call, and you can literally not only lose everything you put in the account, but a whole lot more. It can't happen on BITMEX. The most you're going to lose is what's in there. That's it. And that's a huge innovation. The other innovation is it's open. Well, it's not open if you're American. Unfortunately, the people that live in the land of the free and the home of the brave, they can't trade on BITMEX. But everyone else in the world can, and you can do it with just a little tiny amount. And you can learn this thing, and I can teach you this. And it's not the technical. It's managing that account. And you can do it. But it's not the emphasis. The emphasis is that hodl. I don't want you trading with Jesus here if you don't have $2,000 in Bitcoin in your hodl. Okay? Because you have 2,000, okay, you risk $100, see what you can do with it. And if you lose half of it down to 50, you cut back on your trading, which I think I put that on some of the testimonials. Somebody did that. I said, I opened with 0.01. It dropped down to 0.49. I got it back up to 1.5. I took mine out. I'm trading with OPM now. I'm trading with other people's money. You need to get there. You got to get there. That's all I trade with. I'm not trading with, I'm trading with your Bitcoin, not mine. Thank you for your support. Okay, how do you hedge your BTC position? Well, you hedge it, and I should have done more of that when we were up there, because it was just an opportunity. It didn't matter if it kept going up. What happens is, let's take an easy amount. Let's say that you have 10 Bitcoin, okay? And you see that the market, after I wrote that, hey, this thing went way up. We're in a big contango now. The things, we got the speculators, the weak hands, the sellers are strong hands of the commercial interest. This thing's way overdone. All you had to do was, you have 10 Bitcoin. Just sell 2. Okay, just sell 2 at 12,000 or 14 or wherever it is, and you can almost forget it. But the thing is, you weren't even selling it there. You were selling it, if you use the futures, another $800 over that. Okay, now you have to back it up so you don't get wrecked. Okay, and that's what commercial users are doing. And then as the market, if the market would have continued on up, you're still way ahead. You had 80% of your Bitcoin, and you're making money. Your fiat value is going up. You just don't quite have as much Bitcoin. But if that thing goes down, now you have more Bitcoin. Okay, but you know what? Overall, your fiat, your net worth has gone down. Ever since I've made money trading every year in Bitcoin. Okay, Last year was the first year I almost didn't. I treaded water all year, and it wasn't until the very end when I only had 2 Bitcoin and I took 2 and ran it into 20. That's about all, that's what I made. But the whole thing is my net worth went down, even though I made Bitcoin in 2018. My total net worth went down because now Bitcoin was at 3,500 instead of 20,000. So my net worth went way down. But guess what? When it was in December of 2017, when we were at that big contango, I had sold. I didn't sell the few, but I sold and bought other. We bought houses, we built houses, we bought factory equipment, we built a factory. And that's what you do. You take some out of there. I don't have as much Bitcoin now that I did when it was up there. I don't need it. You know what? But my net worth is higher than ever, and I have other productive assets. And you know, just to hodl Bitcoin, if you hodl it, and you never use it, you never sell it, what good is it to you? None. It's worthless. It's worthless. And like I said, I've seen people almost shed tears because they were forced to sell at 3 or 4 or 5,000, and they didn't elect to take some profits or hedge when it was at 20,000. And you saw just how I did it, guys. I said, look, this thing's, the fundamentals have changed. Hey, we could go right on up. I agree with that. I don't get rid of my HODL. I don't get rid of my HODL. You don't jeopardize that HODL. You don't. But to say that I've ever recommended going short, and by short, net short. I short all the time. But I'm never net short, and I'm never saying go short. And that's how I'm quoted out of context. And this guy just won't get off of, well, I quoted you exactly what you said. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Yeah, I sold Bitcoin this week too, but I was never short. In fact, I sold at the most this week 20,000, which is less than 2 Bitcoin. Picked up maybe, you know, a tenth of a Bitcoin, which isn't shabby, $1,000. You know, that's not. You know, I remember, you know, it would take me a long time to save $1,000, and now it's just, you know, it's not even noise in my total market position. You guys, you know, you need to get on board and you need to rethink what's going on here. And I'm going through the entire process and where the future is. The future. Yes, number one, HODL. If you don't have your HODL, if you're young and you're just keep on buying that. And if you don't want to trade, you know what? That's fine. Just keep on HODLing it and come back and see us in 5 years. That's great. You know, I have no difficulty with that. It's not going to matter whether you buy it at 3,000 or 20,000. You know, because fundamentally, Tina. All right. Bitcoin Tina. There is no alternative. You're right, Bitcoin Tina, but you're so wrong. And you so misrepresented me. And that's what I'm calling you out on, Buster. You want to come on and talk with me one-on-one? Hey, I'm here. You know? But you need to learn and listen. You got a big ego, Buster. You do. And you're just dealing with your own pride right now. And you lied about me, and I called you out on it, and you haven't retracted it. You need to retract your lie. All right. What else? All right. Let's see. What advice do you have for those who under-risking instead of over-risking? You know, you will know when you can take greater risks. But if you're new at trading, and you know, keep your HODL, keep that discipline to average. But if you're just keep it really small. Okay. And you can't paper trade. People think, oh, paper. No, you can't paper trading that because all kinds of things happen. You think that it doesn't reflect the same thing. You have to really get in there and do it. Okay. And you may never really become proficient, but I think anybody can. Look, I am not a rocket scientist. I am not a brain surgeon. I'm really not that smart. But I challenge anyone to match my trading record. And it's based on a different way of thinking than what is out there. And if you listen to me, you can catch onto that thinking. And more people, even a lot of technical traders are saying, you know what, I get it. But one of the weaknesses is the market demands, they want to know, where's the market going? And I chastise you guys. Don't ever ask me where the market's going because I don't know. And if you ask me that question, I know you haven't read anything I've written. Okay? And so the important thing is not where the market is going. The important thing is, what are you going to do when it gets there? And, if you want to ask me if I'm long or short, I'll tell you. Now, I'm always long, but I might have a short position on as a hedge. Right now, I don't have anything on because I'm going on vacation. If I had to, I would still be a seller in here, but this market could do anything. I mean, I'm glad I'm out. I got no really interest if you're trading this market, you want to do it in a very small way and trade the swings and use your timing indicators. It's not in my opinion, it's not a time for position trading because it could go either way. I mean, we could have a huge move up because we all know the fiat fundamentals. I mean, the problem that we have is, we have a fiat tsunami coming. And there's no limit where Bitcoin can go. And so by the same token, I know the market well enough that we fulfilled a lot of criteria that this market could go into a substantial downturn and prolonged one. And we have a lot of regulatory and things coming into play. They can't touch Bitcoin. Bitcoin will be immune to everything, but they can touch these alts, and that can affect Bitcoin. And they can also touch us as Bitcoin hodlers. I mean, they're not going to be able to get Bitcoin, but they will be able to persecute those of us, who have protected ourselves and believe in sound money. And that's why it's also important. Hey, you know what? We need to watch each other's back. Let's not falsely represent each other. You know what? If you're in Bitcoin and you get in trouble due to some oppressive tyranny, I would hope that the whole Bitcoin community comes and backs up those people in those areas. And I think that will happen. But it might be a very widespread, and there might be only a few of us that are watching the backs of a whole lot of people, because your wealth may be able to escape the tyranny, but you may not be able to. And I know I'm fighting against that. I'm a public person. I'm willing to take that risk, as are others, and because I think sound money is a very important fundamental that we have to have if we are to succeed as an industrial and technological society. Okay. All right. So what's going on? Why do I prefer cross? It's just because I don't want to mess with it. That I don't want to mess with. I just have enough in there, so I'm not going to get wrecked. And that's the way I am. I mean, you never want to have a lot in any account. I mean, right now, there was an article where the CFTC is investigating, BITMEX, or they're always investigating them. And, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But it's not just, you got to remember the CFTC is also completely dominated by people that are are big players in the U.S. commodities exchanges. And so I'm sure that the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and the other exchanges, they would love for the CFTC to somehow crack down on BITMEX because it's their primary competitor. And BITMEX is far larger than any of them, and for very good reason, because they have a superior product. They just do. Like I say, you can get completely wiped out on the CME, and you can lose everything you have in there and more. You can lose your entire fortune if you got caught in Bitcoin and overnight it goes to $500,000. You're toast, and you still owe for the difference. So, and just ask a few people that got caught. And there was a Swiss franc debacle a few years ago. And so, it's that cannot happen to you on BITMEX, and it's just unfortunate that door is closed to United States citizens. And you guys should just be livid about it. I mean, you should be calling your congressmen, hey, what's going on here? And the reason that they don't want your business because they don't want to open themselves up to United States regulators, and I don't blame them. All right. Define sound money, please. Well, sound money is something that is an honest weight or measure. And in the case of Bitcoin, it's not weight because it's digital, but it is a solid measure. Now, it's actually, it is the same. One Bitcoin is always one Bitcoin. Now, the value in other things, because it's limited supply, because it's unconfiscatable, because it is mined through proof of work, and it's the longest chain, it, over the long run, is going to have an increasing value. Now, in my estimation, that does cause some problems, but we're at such an early stage, it's just the nature of the beast. But the stability in Bitcoin will not come until sound commercial banking is operating side by side with Bitcoin. And that's why I recommend you read E.C. Harwood. Basically what it is, it's the creation of non-inflationary purchasing media. And so on a Bitcoin standard, there will be bankers will actually create Bitcoin. Now, it won't be the Bitcoin. It won't be the Bitcoin that you have in your, in your Trezor. It's going to be the Bitcoin standard. It's like when banks issued, look, gold was never circulating as money. Only one time, and that was during the California gold rush, where gold was plentiful and everything else was dear. But gold coins did not circulate on the East Coast or in Europe then. They were held and they were hodled. But banks issued what's called self-liquidating commercial paper, and it was built on the gold standard. That's what the gold standard is about. That's why the gold standard was sound, because it represented not just the gold, but it represented all the other goods coming into the marketplace. So if a bank, the function of a bank was to create purchasing media out of nothing, ex nihilo, but it represented, they had a lien on the automobile. Let's say it's an automobile that was being offered in the marketplace. They had the bill of lading or whatever, however they attached to it. They would pay the automobile manufacturer in the purchasing media that they created. The automobile producer would then pay his suppliers, and he would pay his employees. And then as they were paid, those people would come to the bank and that money would be retired. It's called self-liquidating commercial paper. And then the loan was paid off. So the money supply is regulated by a free market. And that's, back in the day when I knew Milton Friedman personally, and this is where when I talked with Max, we're going to have so much fun on this cruise because, you know what, if nothing else, I'm going to be financing. I don't care if there's only half of us there. It's only 20 people. We're going to be sitting around and talking about this stuff all the time. But Max and I, now there's a guy, we don't agree on some things, big differences. But you know what? He's an honest guy. What a great discussion we had. And we weren't out trying to, badmouth each other at all. But he's a big follower of Murray Rothbard. Well, I'm not a Murray Rothbard fan. I was up front with him. In fact, I called Murray Rothbard because he wrote a book about, the case for 100% gold standard. And I called him a gold socialist because he wanted to impose a gold standard by fiat, 100% fiat. Well, guess who wrote, when I wrote that article? Milton Friedman. I couldn't believe it. And world famous Nobel Prize economist, he wrote me and said, "Oh, I saw your article and here's what I've written about it." And he sent me an article called Gold Standards and Pseudo Gold Standards. Now, look, Milton Friedman's great economist, great free market advocate, one of the founders of the Mont Pelerin Society, along with F.A. Hayek, who they invited. I got invited. Can you believe it? I was invited to Mont Pelerin. Anyway, let's not go there, but let me say that Milton Friedman's a monetarist. He believes, and I get it, that money should be increased a certain amount every year, at a fixed amount, but to accommodate to accommodate the economy. And I'm not from that school at all, and neither was F.A. Hayek. But to me, E.C. Harwood found the solution. It was the banks actually create the money, and they also withdraw the money depending upon the economy. Now, if you make a bad loan, for example, if it was a turn of the century, and let's say you were loaning money out for the production of buggy whips, that probably was not a very good loan. And if you loaned 80% of the value, within a year or two, that value might have dropped to 40%, and you would not be a very sound bank. And if your banknotes would be redeemed very quickly. Now, what happened was in those days too, rather than having a Federal Reserve, the banks had a clearinghouse with each other. Now, the same type of clearinghouse exists in the United States on the commodity futures market, very advanced system. And that's why there's on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the Chicago Board of Trade, the COMEX, they'll have a membership, and you're a membership. And if one of the members turns bad, all the other members have to bail out that membership. And it happens from time to time. So those memberships can fluctuate greatly in value. That's also what is happening now in this liquid network that's been created. I think it's a tremendous advance. And this is where things are going to happen more and more. And I do foresee that banking is going to emerge for more and more contracts, more and more. And Gabriel said, "Well, I don't think it's to be called banking. It's going to be something different." He's probably right. I'm taking old terms and trying to, fit it into Bitcoin. And I might be absolutely wrong on trying to fit something in there, but I don't think that we dare ignore history, because we very much can learn from history. And so I think these exchanges, if we can get these exchanges, would have a membership similar to what we have on the Chicago Board of Trade and the Mercantile Exchange and so forth. That will be a tremendous advancement. But the liquidity is a tremendous advancement. You're going to see on a small scale, we're doing it with this affiliate program. The program that we've written is available to other websites. So we can all, if you want to take, in what they'll actually be interchangeable, or the balance you have on Ugly Old Goat, you can go to Tone Vase or somebody else and get his trading system. These are the things that are going to develop. We don't know exactly which way they're going to take, but this is where we're going with it. And this is the frontier. And that's why the hodl is so important. You got to have a hodl. You got to have a hodl, and you don't, I sell Bitcoin. I'm always long Bitcoin. Okay. Bitcoin, Tina, I'm always long. never short. I sell it, but I'm always net long. And that's where you completely misrepresented me. Okay, let's go on. The detractors will only get worse as you become bigger and bigger, more well-known. It is a part of being public eye. Yeah, you're right. I agree. And I should have probably just ignored it, but this guy should know better. Come on.
Okay.
Today, back on New York's soft launch testing phase, which offers futures product settled in actual Bitcoin. Yeah, I want to send me the link. I need to go look at that. That's tremendously bullish on Bitcoin if it's true. And the reason being is that it will open a readily supply of Bitcoin that you can get by taking delivery. I mean, I used to trade in the gold market and I would buy gold and take delivery. And you're going to see Bitcoin will be able to get squeezed because it is such a limiting thing. And that is one of the problems that I see with it. I think it's extremely bullish for Bitcoin. If that's truly what it is, I'll have to see if that's what it is.
Hold on.
What is the Warren Buffett lunch?
I don't know.
You need inflation capitalism. No, you don't. Communism had little or no inflation due to central planned economy. No, it had a huge inflation. It was fixed. You just didn't have anything. You never, it was by law, you couldn't change. So you couldn't raise the price. So it just didn't get produced. So, okay. So, yeah, and okay, Tron announces postponement of, I don't know what the Warren Buffett lunch is. Ugly, you're the man. Has anyone told you recently what a decent guy you are? Well, you know what? I had this shirt on this morning, and my wife actually said, "Oh, you look handsome." I go, "Oh, really?" So, yeah, she doesn't say that very often. She says, "You need to shower and go brush your teeth." Okay, well, I would be very surprised if Beckett gets approval. Okay, because if it does, the first person that offers a legitimate exchange where you can buy Bitcoin.
He didn't say handsome. He said decent.
Huh?
I didn't say handsome. I said decent.
Well, I said my wife said I was handsome. I didn't say that was my wife. That was G.Lady this morning. I had this nice shirt on, and she says, "Oh, Ugly, you look so handsome today." And she usually says, "Go take a shower and go brush your teeth." What do I think about Bitcoin Core developers? I wish I knew more about it, but here's the deal. Bitcoin Core, they're just individual people. There's very few that are on the payroll. They contribute. It's not out yet, guys, but it's possible we could have a Bitcoin developer on this cruise, and then these tickets will just skyrocket because it's just possible. He hasn't said yes, and he hasn't said no, and so we'll just see. And I'm not going to reveal who it might be, but yeah, I mean, they're way over my head, and it's just there's Bitcoin, okay, and there's core developers, but there's no such thing as Bitcoin Core, okay? There's just Bitcoin. A lot of people, that on Bitcoin Core, they are, the leaders in the Bitcoin development, and it is a meritocracy. You're not going to get in the club unless you're really good and they recognize you as such. And it's kind of like me the same way. Look, I know Tone Vase, and I know he's good at what he's doing. I know Tyler, and you guys the detractors can do all they want. You're not going to change my view. You're just showing your own ignorance. You know, the same thing with Ben Zinn. We had him on the show. Now I understand Willie Woo's got. I don't know. I'm sure we're going to meet here soon, but we recognize each other. It's just like if you're a well, I'll use the term. I don't like to use this term, Bitcoin maximalist. I'm going to use a gold Bitcoin standard bearer. We recognize each other. We really do. We know who each other are. And that's what was so hurtful to me with Bitcoin Tina, because he's a maximalist. He should be a Bitcoin standard bearer. Now, we have disagreements, and I don't have problems with that. We can discuss those, but don't be misrepresenting what I'm putting out. No, don't be telling people, well, ugly, shame on you. You told people to short Bitcoin. No, I never have. And the only way you could justify that is by quoting me completely out of context. And that's what you did, and you refused to retract it. That's on your bad, man. That's on you. That's not on me. You created this mess. You know, yeah, I called you out on it. I kind of regret it because you weren't, you know. At any rate, I welcome you back into the camp, but, you know, don't misrepresent me again, because I'll call anybody out that does that. You know, you're not going to intimidate me, and you can back yourself in a corner all you want. All right. Back at today kicks off acceptance testing. I just marked it back at not the future testing plan. All right. Yeah, and that's fine, but if it's just a test, the test is going to be that delivery. That's the test. If they offer a delivery content, it's a game changer, guys. It's a game changer. I would not be surprised if Bitcoin doubled or tripled overnight, because the squeeze is on. It ain't going to happen. The likelihood of the CFTC allowing a deliverable Bitcoin contract, I think, is next to nil. And it could be a catastrophe. It would be a way to undermine it, because, like I said, in the United States, under the commodity futures, you can lose more than you put in. Whereas that is the genius of BITMEX, and that's the genius of what Arthur Hayes has offered. And that's why part of what has done and is doing is why Bitcoin is the new America. Because and you're, as an American citizen, you are being severely punished for in fact, you can't use it. And that's sad. It's really sad. Thanks so much for introducing me to contango and backwardization. By the way, Goat, I learned a lot from you. Well, thank you, Rolf. All right, there's my answer. I guess I would disagree with me on the sell the news question. Well, you know, I don't trade on news, but yeah, I mean, you need to look at those. It's hard getting in those positions correctly, because you know darn good and well how they reverse. What you were getting, you know, it's always, you usually have a fake out before you get right. And there's different methods of trading, and the way I do it is I'm not a breakout buyer, as you all know. I position myself trying to anticipate that breakout. And I'm big believer in buying severe weakness and selling severe optimism. But I understand the other way of trading, and it's a different way. And they do have to use stops, because breakout buyers, the big difficulty with it is your equity can change so fast, because you're buying that breakout, and if it reverses instead of keeps going your direction, just boom. Whereas if you're catching the bottom of ranges and tops of ranges, and again, I believe in positioning myself. I work my equity. I work it. If you notice, even now, I'm working that equity. I got it up a little bit, because I don't want to give it up. You know, I don't want to get, even though it's only for Bitcoin, which isn't, for me, that's a very small amount. I have, I'm not risking very much, but and that's why what you want to do when you practice on these small little $100 accounts, you want to get that thing up, make it work, build it, get get that original $100 out as soon as you can. Now, you kind of have a problem with that on BITMEX because they do charge so much. You can't use the minimum and take days. They make you they have a minimum charge when you withdraw. So, you know, I would probably just leave it in there till you have a Bitcoin or so and not worry about it. But you just want to have a piddling amount in there, you know, and just a small part of your hodl. Like, again, if you don't have $2,000 for the Bitcoin, I wouldn't even do it. You're not ready for it yet. Yeah, keep hodling and keep going the way you're going. All right, I think I'm done. I don't trade breakouts. I'm too many faking it out. So much, in fact, that I would sell a breakout with a limit order. Yeah, that's what if you look at the last trade that I did, I had orders up there. I had orders up there above the 2-day high. They were resting. I got them all filled. I got one quick, and wow, I made a whole lot fast. This thing. I should have taken it because, like I say, whenever you have a quick, fast trade that works, you usually want to just get out of it 90% of the time because it's going to come back. And if I'd have done that, then I'd have got but it stayed up there a long time. And then it had one little boom, little pop up and then boom, you know, that's the way it goes. That's the way it is. All right. See, I learned from the best. All right. So, hey, I'm not the best, guys. Just look at my trades. I guess they're gonna quantify it or picturize it some way, put it on the chart. But you guys can all be better traders than me. All right. The secret to my success is not my technical. All right. My secret of my success is I manage that account, and that's the secret. That's the secret. Secret number. There's 3 secrets to trading. And the first one is money management. And the second one is money management. And the third one is money management. And if you still think you got that in your head and it's second nature to you, you probably missed it because there's a 4th secret, and that's money management. It has to be part of your DNA. And if it's not, look, you make one money management mistake and you're out. And you can't play until you rebuild your capital. That's why, all right? That's why I invited Zezo Duarte to come and speak, because he's going to speak to you guys. Exactly. This is a very important thing that I don't think you realize. You know, he's a brave young man to come out and expose himself out. Very few of us would ever do that. And so, yeah, I'm paying his way, paying his expenses, and I hope some of you sign up. If you're going to sign up for the newsletter, sign up under him. He's got an affiliate code there. Or go to the cruise and sign up under him. Help him restore his Bitcoin a little bit. You know, the guy's going to do great because he learned, and he's going to speak because he wants you to avoid the hard lesson that he learned. And that's why that's why it's great that he's going to be speaking about this. It's probably the most important presentation that will be at the conference. When do you sell your hodl? You never sell your hodl. You always have a hodl, just sometimes it's bigger and sometimes it's smaller. Okay. Rolf, unfortunately, I know you're absolutely right. You can be so right on almost all your trades, but still lose it all because of bad money management. And my humble opinion, lack of patience. Yes. And sometimes when you realize you're going that direction, you just get out. I call it being discombobulated. When you get discombobulated, just get out and don't even come back. Just go do something else for a while. You know, if you got to be in front of that screen, you got an addiction problem. You love trading, you love the excitement. Hey, it's exciting, it's fun. You know, I love it. You know, but we're in this. It's a business, and I'm in it. You know, when you got to get real serious about making money and not giving it back, and you don't treat it like it's play money, because it's not. If you've successfully traded, you've earned every penny of it. And you need to reward yourself because you did a good job. And you need to take a portion out, and that's saving. Remember, that's a distortion of the word savvy. And the next thing you need to do is you need to build it, and you need to get other assets for whatever it is that Bitcoin should not be your livelihood. It should just be the standard for your livelihood. Okay? Big difference. Big difference. Okay? And that's what I'm trying to pass on to my family now. You know, we're building, hopefully, I don't want them to depend on, oh, it's just Bitcoin forever. It's going to go up, up, up. That's a lie. You need to be doing something productive. And you can do that on the Bitcoin standard. And that's what this website is about. And who knows where it's going to go. I mean, it's going to go, it's just, I mean, this whole thing is wide open. Look, most entrepreneurs are not on Bitcoin yet. They're going to be. There's a lot of us entrepreneurs, we are, and one by one, they're slowly getting it. And they're slowly getting on, and they're working it in. I get it. Oh, I see now. But it takes you years. It really does. And it takes, you know, if you have a spouse that's been fighting, you know that it takes 4 or 5 years for they finally see it, you know.
Last one.
How much time in a day do you spend in front of the screen looking at charts? Well, not so much anymore because I'm busy doing other stuff. I don't know. Several. If I'm trading, I'll be intense. You know, if I'm trading, and right now this is a swing. It's not a position market. I mean, it's not a position market. This thing can go either way. So the thing is, if it's disturbing your personal life, it's too much. And I've had that happen a lot of times. So it's too much. Many times I've been in that screen, far too much than I should be. Which one do I recommend for money management? Well, the flagship is How to Profit. That's a good one, which outlines the dollar cost averaging. The other one is I Am Saving. That was one of my early articles. There's another flagship third one, but one of them that I've been retweeting out because other people have pointed it to me, and that's what I sent to Bitcoin Tina, and that was the one on I can't remember the name of it, but how to establish a position, and it's one of the most difficult things. It's a very thorough article that outlines a lot of the things that are here. How much or how do I sell when it goes below whatever? I don't know. I don't sell. I don't really look at moving averages very much. So that's a technical indicator. I sell when my wife wants something. And I sell, fortunately, she's wise enough to want something when the market's up. And sometimes I said, but dear, it's going up, it's going higher, but I want it now. And, you know, it may not, look, if you've ever been through these bear markets, if you don't sell it on the way up, it's going to get painful selling it on the way down. So never be shy. I mean, look, we have things now that we didn't have before. Period. I don't have as much Bitcoin as I once had, but wow, I have my net worth. Even I have lots of other things that we didn't. My lifestyle's just improved substantially. You know, I'm able to do all these fun things. We built the studio, you know, and we're going to do a lot more. We're doing this cruise. I'm doing things, you know, that I enjoy doing. They may or may not, you know, pay for themselves, but we're going to try. So it's, you know, my heart is into Bitcoin. My heart is to teach you the things I've learned. My heart is to see you guys succeed. And, you know, that's hard for people to believe that, because they really think, oh, you know, if you're a trader in Bitcoin, you're just out to you know, to weasel out from everything. No, it's not. I said, look, we profit from stupidity. If you want to be stupid, then get in there with all your Bitcoin and start trading on BITMEX, because it no longer is yours. It will be mine and others. So, and we don't need to have a lot in there to get it from you. So I'm teaching you how that not to have that happen. And I'm teaching you how if you properly set up your money management strategy and account, that it can't happen to you. You cannot get wrecked. Now, other people, well, everybody loses. Yes, everybody loses, but their thinking is upside down, and I'm putting your head on straight so you can think the correct way. It's not that hard. With no why, I guess, yeah, there you go. Well, no, yeah, I guess you'll take it to the grave. Maybe you will, but yeah, you know what? You might find a wife out there. So I don't know, but at any rate, guys, I think we're done. I need to get. How are you doing, Bitcoin Jesus? You want to talk a little bit about your account?
No, I'm trying to fix that. Some of the people try to log into the link, so I've been trying to fix it. So they can.
All right. Well, tomorrow I'll probably log in. I'll be traveling on vacation on Friday. So I'll be taking my laptop, and I'll be doing my own little thing when I have Wi-Fi. So I need to have lessons so I know how to do it, because I'm not very technologically proficient. So I'll probably practice tomorrow off of my personal laptop. I still might be here in the studio, but it'll be my own camera and my own laptop instead of this system that they've set up for me. So at any rate, that's it. All right. All right. Well, good night. Thank you, guys. Yeah, send me that. I need to put that tweet out, have a copy of it so I can have at least a record of what the guy said. It's sad. Very, very, very sad. Very, very unfortunate that, somebody can be that wrong and then bows their neck and you won't say, okay, I fucked up. Sorry, guy. That's all I need. You know what? I make lots of mistakes, but you got to come. When you make a mistake, you just got to admit it and then go on. And I'm a very forgiving guy, but you know what? You want to fight ugly? I ain't backing down. So you lied. You need to just, say, yeah, I apologize, ugly. I completely misrepresented you. You do not recommend going short Bitcoin, and you never have. All right. Good night, fellas.